My sister left her kids at my door, and everything fell apart. They say one missed message can't change your life. They're wrong, because one unread text message almost destroyed my entire family. My name is Lena. I'm 29 years old. My older sister, Mara, is 32. She's a single mother with 2 kids, Noah, who's 15, and Mila, who just turned 12. We were never extremely close, but we've always had each other's backs. Mostly because growing up, we didn't really have anyone else. Our parents struggled with addiction. They were unpredictable. Sometimes they disappeared for days. Sometimes they were home, but emotionally gone. Mara practically raised me. So when she showed up at my door screaming, I knew something was seriously wrong. It was a Tuesday evening. I had just come back from a 4-day vacation with my boyfriend. My phone had been on silent most of the time. I barely checked it. The doorbell rang aggressively, not once, but over and over. I opened the door, and there she was, pale, shaking, eyes red like she hadn't slept. "Where are my kids?" she screamed. I froze. "What are you talking about?" "I left them here 2 days ago." My stomach dropped. "I wasn't home." She grabbed my phone and scrolled through my messages, and then I saw it. One text. "I'm in trouble. Let them in. I'll explain later." Sent 48 hours earlier. I had never opened it. And suddenly 2 children were missing. No phones, no jackets, no backpacks, just gone. I told her we needed to call the police immediately, but she grabbed my arm and whispered something I'll never forget. "If the police get involved, I'll lose my kids." And then she told me everything. Mara worked as head of accounting at a mid-sized company. She'd been there nearly 10 years. Recently, she started noticing irregularities, money transfers that didn't make sense, budgets that disappeared, financial reports that were quietly adjusted. At first, she assumed it was a mistake. Then she overheard 2 executives talking. "We need someone to take the fall." And her name came up. She had full access to the books. She was the perfect scapegoat. So she started collecting evidence, emails, screenshots, copies of financial documents. She even drove to another city to meet a former executive who might testify for her if things escalated. And in her panic, she assumed I was home. So she dropped her kids at my house and left, without checking, without confirming, without thinking clearly. The next 2 days were the worst of my life. I kept picturing Noah trying to stay calm for his sister. I imagined Mila crying in the cold. We called relatives, friends, neighbors, nothing. Until finally, 4 days later, we got a message. The kids were safe. Noah had remembered someone, Leon. Leon was the cousin of Mara's ex-boyfriend. Years ago, he used to visit often. He was always quiet, reliable, kind. After the breakup, Mara cut off contact with that entire side of the family. But Noah secretly reconnected with Leon on Instagram months earlier. When they realized I wasn't home, they walked across town to his house, several miles, on foot. Leon opened the door and let them in. No questions asked. When I met him later, he simply said, "I knew something wasn't right." At that point, I thought the nightmare was over. I was wrong. A week later, Mara had an official meeting with the company. She told me she had everything under control. She didn't. During the meeting, they placed a folder on the table. Screenshots, private messages, photos. Mara turned white. There was something she hadn't told me. For nearly 2 years, she had been in a secret relationship with one of her subordinates. It wasn't reported to HR. Her lawyer didn't know. I didn't know. And the screenshots, they came from him. The company had offered him her position in exchange for everything, and he accepted. He handed over every message, every detail, every private conversation. When she told me this, she broke down completely, not just because of the job, but because of what would happen if this turned into a criminal case. If she were charged publicly, if the media got involved, Child Protective Services could step in, and she was terrified of becoming our mother. Irresponsible, unstable, unfit. That night she made a decision. She called him, and I recorded the conversation. She stayed calm, asked direct questions, and he admitted it. Yes, they offered him the promotion. Yes, in exchange for the screenshots. Yes, he took the deal. That recording changed everything. Suddenly, the company didn't want a trial anymore. They didn't want publicity. They wanted silence. They offered her an out-of-court settlement, a large payment, in exchange for signing a non-disclosure agreement. No trial, no headlines, no scandal. She took it. Today, months later, things are calmer. Mara works at a different company now. The kids are in therapy. She is too. And Leon? He stayed. He helped with the kids. He showed up every day while everything fell apart. And somewhere in the middle of that chaos, we started talking more. Now he lives with me. And sometimes I think about that unread text. If I had opened it, none of this would have happened. No missing kids, no betrayal, no recording, no settlement. But maybe no second chance either. Sometimes the biggest disasters in your life start with one message you never read.